Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to be doing another comparison between the iPhone SE 2020, but this time between the OnePlus 8. And technically these are both brand new phones, so it's not like one is way newer than the other one. The OnePlus 8 was kind of announced earlier than the iPhone SE 2, but they both kind of came out at the same time. Now, between the price tags between both, the iPhone SE 2 is still substantially cheaper than the OnePlus 8. This specific phone cost me about $699 to pick up. It was actually a little bit more, but these are being sold out like crazy. I'm even lucky to get one now. They were both selling out like crazy. The iPhone SE 2s you can still pick up pretty, fast nowadays. The iPhone SE 2 is selling for about $399, so there's still a pretty big gap between the price tags. I will leave both of these linked down below for the cheapest prices that I find on Amazon. I actually picked this one up from Amazon, so that was really nice. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time, so both of those links will be linked down below. Now, I'll go and start off with the front. I'll start off with the iPhone 2 screen for sure. Now, the iPhone SE 2 has a 4.7-inch Retina IPS panel, and it's not a bad panel, it's not an ugly looking phone, it's nothing like that. I think it's a pretty good phone at the end of the day, and for the price that you're paying, $399, I mean, it gets the job done for sure. And if you think about it, just a couple years ago, this was the phone, this was the flagship type of design and this flagship type of phone. So it's definitely pretty crazy of how, times have definitely changed. And this design, I mean, the panel is 750p. You have True Tone on it, which is really cool. But other than that, I mean, it's not really like a best looking display anymore. It's definitely like pretty mid-tier, actually probably below mid-tier, but it gets the job done for sure. So if you need a phone to get you from point A to point B, the panel looks pretty okay. You do have quite a bit of bezel on the top and bottom, and that's where the OnePlus 8's design is definitely, definitely higher than this one. But I think the screen overall is okay for the most part, especially when you consider the price that you're paying for it. Now with the OnePlus 8, you're definitely, getting a better looking phone and a better looking display, but you're also spending more money on it too, so you kind of have to keep that in mind. This is $300 more than this phone, and the OnePlus 8 has a 6.55-inch Fluid AMOLED display, and it's a 1080p panel, so you're going from 750p here to 1080p, and this is definitely a really good looking panel, and it's a really good looking 1080p panels. And I don't know how, but OnePlus makes a really good 1080p panels ever since I think like the OnePlus 5T or whatever phone that was, especially since the OnePlus 6T. Those panels all had 1080p panels, and those looked really nice, and this one is no exception. The panel looks really good. You have that hole punch display up top. You have very, very little bezel around the whole entire phone, which is really nice. Now here's a really cool thing. You have that 90Hz refresh rate on this phone, which is extremely cool. That's one of my favorite things ever, and no iPhones have that as of this point. We should be getting 120Hz later this year, which would be really nice, but the OnePlus 8, it does have that 90Hz refresh rate, which is extremely cool. So between the front, I'll definitely tell you the OnePlus 8 is a better looking phone. In terms of the size difference, you can kind of tell, what the size difference is between here. The OnePlus 8 is definitely the bigger phone. And when you hold them in the hand, I mean, you can tell the OnePlus 8 is definitely longer, but the thickness you can't really tell that much, but the length you can definitely tell the OnePlus 8 is longer. On the bottom, USB Type-C on the OnePlus 8 and a lightning port on the iPhone SE 2. And on the back, triple camera setup on the OnePlus 8, but a single camera setup on the iPhone SE 2, so that's another big thing to keep in mind. And I'll talk about those in a second, and you might actually be surprised about some of my opinions on them, but in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it. A huge thing to consider: the OnePlus 8 does not have any wireless charging, which is kind of weird, but the iPhone SE 2 also has IP certification, which is extremely cool. You have IP67 dust and water resistance on this phone, where you don't have any IP certification on this phone, which is kind of weird. I don't really know why that happened, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. Now we'll go and hit on the software. I'll start off with the OnePlus 8. This thing's starting off with Android 10, and it's on Oxygen OS, and I think that's probably one of the better versions of Android for sure. And I really do like this version of Android. It looks really nice, it's clean, it's minimal, there's not a lot much going on. But the thing to keep in mind, as I've stated before, you have pretty much a longer life cycle on iOS devices and on iPhones overall than on Android. So even though the OnePlus 8 is still lasting for a long time in terms of Android, most probably the iPhone SE 2 is going to be outlasting the OnePlus 8 in terms of stock software. You will have probably custom ROMs and stuff coming out eventually for the OnePlus 8, but definitely at the end of the day, the iPhone SE 2 is going to be outlasting the OnePlus 8 by quite a bit of time. This thing's starting off with iOS 13, and this phone is probably actually going to get 3 more versions of Android, so it's going to get Android 11, Android 12, and then it's probably going to stop at Android 13. So that's going to be about like 3 years from now, maybe 3.5 years. This one is going to be lasting for like at least like 5 years, maybe even more, who knows. So software life cycle is still great on both phones, but I think the iPhone SE 2 is probably going to last longer. So in terms of software, that really pretty much covers it up there. Now I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a speed test between them so you guys can kind of see where the speeds are between them, I guess. I will do a full separate speed test if you guys want to see it at some point. Now the iPhone SE2 has that Apple A13 chip with 3 gigs of RAM on all the models, where the OnePlus 8 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset and 8 gigs of RAM on that base model and 12 gigs of RAM on that top tier model. In this specific model I have the 8 gig of RAM option, so keep that in mind. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed test and see which one is the faster one between both of them. Okay, let's go and load up all these apps in the background and go and close them. Now on the OnePlus series, they make it really easier for you to close out of the apps. On the iPhones, you still have to swipe out of all of them, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully they can fix that with iOS 13, or with iOS 14 for that matter. Now I have a lot of these apps already downloaded, the third-party ones. Let's just get into it. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. The OnePlus 8 actually a little bit faster there than the iPhone SE2. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone SE2 was faster there, okay. Doodle Jump, 3, 2, 1. And I think the OnePlus 8 was faster to get into that specific panel, but it could have been a little bit weird, I don't know. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. Now before I click it, I want you to notice the pop-up animation, see which one is smoother. 3, 2, 1. And we do have a little bit of a panel little thing here, but even to load into the app seemed to be faster and smoother on the iPhone SE2. Now the loading speeds, we won't really worry about that, but the animation to open was definitely faster on the iPhone SE2 in my opinion. Stack, 3, 2, 1. And we had a little bit of a pop-up here, but to get into the ad, I think was faster on the OnePlus 8. Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And OnePlus 8 actually a little bit faster, not too much, but slightly faster on the OnePlus 8 there, which was kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting that. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And faster on the iPhone SE2, followed by the OnePlus 8 a little bit behind. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And it looks like the OnePlus 8 actually loaded that one up faster. They're both still loading, but I think the OnePlus 8 was faster, followed by the iPhone SE2 shortly after. And this one has the latest chipset too, and that was actually kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting that. So let's see if one of them, overloads the other one. And this is a basic game, so we're not going to notice too big of a difference. Instagram, 3, 2, 1. They both were pretty identical. We can do in the Real Racing 3 and end it off there. 3, 2, 1. And you can see the OnePlus 8 was actually faster there, and I'm sure the iPhone SE2 is going to be right behind it. But yeah, definitely the OnePlus 8 I think was the faster phone between both of these. And the iPhone SE2 is really weird because it was faster than a lot of my other phones, at least my other iPhones. But it seems to me that the OnePlus 8 is actually beating that phone, which is pretty impressive to me. So for sure, I'd probably end up saying that the OnePlus 8 is the faster phone between these two, which, maybe rightfully so. This one is a pretty high-spec phone. But the iPhone SE2 was also a pretty fast phone still, and I'll probably end up saying that the OnePlus 8, gets a thumbs up for my books. It's definitely faster, but the iPhone SE2 is kind of right behind it too in a lot of ways. So I'll do a full separate speed test if you guys want to see it, and I'll do a full separate camera test too, but I'll briefly hit on them in this video. Now the iPhone SE2 has a single 12 megapixel camera on the back, where the OnePlus 8 has a triple camera setup, a 48 megapixel wide angle lens, 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. And both phones can do 4K 60, which is really cool. And I think the camera UI is better on the OnePlus 8. I think you can do a lot more features and a lot more capabilities on the OnePlus 8 camera than on the iPhone SE2 camera with just the software and everything built in. But even at that point, I think the camera quality is better on the iPhone SE2. And I hate to say it because, the OnePlus 8 has more camera lenses and all that, but I think the quality is better on the iPhone SE2, but I still think all the features and everything, including the lenses, that probably ends up siding with the OnePlus 8 for sure. So again, I don't think one phone blows the other one out of the water. The OnePlus 8 has more camera features, but the iPhone SE2 I think has the better camera quality. On the front, a 7 megapixel camera on the iPhone SE2 and a 16 megapixel sensor on the OnePlus 8. And again, one really doesn't blow the other one out of the water. They both can do 1080p at 30, so they're both pretty much the same when it comes down to that. But in terms of the cameras, I would probably end up siding with the SE2 for sure at the end of it. Now ending it off with the battery life, the OnePlus 8 has a 4,300 mAh battery, with the iPhone SE 2 has a 1,821 mAh battery. And numbers don't lie. I think the OnePlus 8 has the way better battery life between both of them. The OnePlus 8 I think is probably even better than the iPhone 11's battery life. It's still kind of out there. Maybe it's not like beating it every single time or every single day, but I think the OnePlus 8 definitely has a better battery life between these two at least. And honestly, to kind of sum up the video, dude, to answer the question, should you pick up the iPhone SE 2, should you pick up the OnePlus 8? I think, for the best bang for its buck would probably be the iPhone SE 2. It's, a cheaper phone, and you're still getting a lot of cool features. You're getting, longer software support, maybe a better camera to some people. I think it's better camera, the Apple ecosystem and all that. But the OnePlus 8, dude, is a killer phone for the price. I mean, you're getting that 90 Hz refresh rate, pretty good camera still, amazing screen, pretty good build quality, very good performance and everything, in a phone that really doesn't even cost, as much as something like an iPhone 11 Pro or like a Samsung Galaxy S20 and all those phones. So I think the OnePlus 8 still has a lot of life left in it, and I think it's probably the better phone between these two. So that really pretty much covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys to check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I got you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.